ये मम्मा मैंने कर दिया है, बट शायद 4:30 पे स्टार्ट होगा ये, उससे पहले स्टार्ट नहीं होगा। मैंने सारा कर दिया, 4:30 पे एक बार आके मैं आपका ज्वाइन करवा दूंगी।
वहीं पे करना है ना व्हाट्सएप पे?
आप व्हाट्सएप पे ना ये खोलना है जो लिंक भेज, इस पे करके ना ये इस पे जूम का ऑप्शन आ रहा है ना, इस पे क्लिक कर देना, ठीक है? तो ये ऐसे कनेक्ट हो जाएगा आपका। अगर उस टाइम पे नहीं आया ना तब भी 4:30 या 35 तक वेट करना, नहीं आया तो मेरे को फोन कर देना, फिर मैं दोबारा आके ठीक है? एक बार लाइट ऑन कर दूं?
कनेक्ट करना,
कनेक्ट कर किससे?
यस
मम्मा से बात कर रहा है, हेलो नानी आवाज नहीं आ रही है, आवाज नहीं आ रही है।
चलिए हो गया हो गया
हो गया क्या हो गया?
नहीं
होया
क्रैकर्स कहाँ पड़े हो माँ?
नीचे है, इधर ही होंगे नीचे।
ये निकाल दो, ये पॉलिथीन चाहिए मुझे।
कर दिया
हिल गया?
नहीं बिल्ली
प्लेन ब्राउन पॉलिथीन।
हाँ यहीं पर है।
कोई ओह मामा
मैं देखती हूँ।
ले देखो
देखो गिफ्ट क्रैकर्स तो दिखते
ऊपर साइड में पड़ा है, उधर राइट
ओए कर दिया नहीं
साइड। दिखा क्या है?
निकल था दे गए देखने से करा था ऐसे करा था व्हाट्स इट योर फॉश हो गया फॉश हो रहा बार बार फॉश
सिर पिटाई करूँ?
फॉश हो रहा बार बार फॉश हो रहा
और
बार नहीं चल रहा
नहीं करो, लाइट आने से भी मुझे काम करें। क्या करना है? क्या चलाना है?
इंटरनेट ऑन है उसमें।
इधर पढ़ाई सॉफ्टवेयर दिखे?
ठंडर ठंडर कौन है ओए
फोन दे दे।
खुले कनेक्ट हो गया कनेक्ट नहीं हो रहा
अभी कह रहा अभी चलो कुत्ता बदाम खाना, अभी चलो।
मैं तेरे को कौन बांधने का कहना? तुझसे दीदी मम्मी किसको बांधने की? राजा को, प्रिंस को, नेहा को।
पापा को कौन बांधेगा यार?
पापा को कौन बांधेगा? पापा को कौन बांधेगा?
क्या हो गया
मैं क्या पूछ रही हूँ?
ये
1:30 हो गए? हेलो हेलो कर रही हूँ।
शायद कट कर दिया मुझे काम देना तो नहीं हुआ।
Oh.
Hari Om. Namami, how are you? Can you hear me, Namami?
Yes, I can hear you. I can hear you. I was saying कि I said Hari Om. I said आपका नया background हो गया with the plants.
Yeah, I came outside. It's so hot. So I came outside and sitting outside in the veranda.
Oh, it's so nice. It's so beautiful. है ना? It's quite artistically आपने इसको किया है. It's quite beautiful. वहाँ पे क्या situation है energy? Everything is it better?
It's better. It's coming up and things are settling, but it will still take time.
Yeah, I
But
think
it's,
all over.
yeah. We
Yeah,
have our distance and mask and everything. All those things we have to take care. Safety and social distancing, all those things. I don't
think
think it will leave us easily.
no. I think this is what they call a new normal, as they say. So it's all good, all good. So Nandini, I'm going to hand over to you now. I'm just going to mute myself and I'll make you the host.
Okay.
We already have many people joining us. So Hari Om to everyone who is joining us. It's wonderful. Thank you so much. We have Milind again, Ajay again. Shipra is very regular now in her yoga practice. Neha is also just recently joined us. So guys, it's always nice if you can turn your videos on just because it makes us more connected if possible. Otherwise, also good. But if possible, videos on is nice because we can all see each other and then you feel like you're sitting with each other. So it's always nice. So just encouraging everyone for their videos. And no one is just for us for the energy to go from one to the other, I think. So all right. Thank you, everyone. And on energy, I'll just mute myself and hand over.
Okay, thank you. Om. 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 Om Shri Ganeshaya Namaha. Om Shri Saraswate Namaha. Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om Namaste to everyone. I hope you all are keeping fine. So actually we are in a sequence trying to complete Gita. And we will try to see how Gita is practically helping us in maintaining our day-to-day poise, in having a better relationship with the world, better in the sense to keep away from all sadnesses and all sorts of ups and downs, and to keep balance in ourselves, and to have a vision that will take us not to some bondage, but it will help us loosen all bondages, and we can say to more freedom, to liberation, how it does. So last time we were seeing what is Karma Yoga. We already saw that we have got 3 paths towards that destination, the ultimate destination. Now we are on Karma Yoga. So we had seen that these 3 paths take us to one single destination. It's not that all the three are different paths. Yes, they are different paths, but still, because the destination is the same, so they are different modes towards one goal. Like to your house, there may be different ways to connect. Similarly, here also, we are going to go towards liberation. Everybody wants liberation. Nobody wants to get stuck up anywhere. We don't like to feel ourselves limited. What do you call, okay, tell me, everybody, what do you mean by happiness? We all want happiness. We all need happiness. How will you define happiness? What is it? What is the thought that makes you happy? How is it? Now, don't tell me eating pizza makes me happy or something like that. I want to make you analyze the intricacies of happiness, because we all want happiness. Everything, not only human beings, everybody in this world is striving for happiness. Even when you see an ant going, all those ants are very, very, very disciplined. If you see, they are all going in one row. Now, if you keep one finger on their line wherever they are working, where they are going, so they will try to move away from there. Why? Because they also want happiness. If we keep one plant in a dark room, so they will try to make their way out towards the window. You all must have noticed. So everything, everybody, every being on this planet is striving for happiness. So how do we define happiness? Tell me. We will have an interactive session. It's not that I will only speak. Let
Maybe-
me see. Yes.
Maybe fulfilling all of our desires is a happiness.
Okay. Fulfilling all our desires. Okay. What else? Let's come to one conclusion after you all speak. Fulfilling all our desires.
Happiness is, you're hearing me?
Yes.
Happiness is, happiness basically comes from experience.
Experience.
But that experience has, need to have two things. One, that experience needs to end well. And second, the peak of the experience. When we are experiencing something, the peak of the experience should be good.
Okay, so it should end in one good experience.
Because we don't remember the experience. We remember the peak of the experience and the end of the experience. So both has to be good.
Okay, fine. Very good. What else?
Happiness is also a state of mind.
Yeah, happiness is a state of mind.
Yeah, so as he said, when it comes with a specific experience, when you remember an experience, but even at that point of time, how you feel mentally is really important.
Yes, okay. Anybody else? Very nice. Everybody of you is correct. We are going towards the same thing. Yes. Anybody else? Very good.
I believe it is actually internal satisfaction.
It is internal satisfaction. Very good. Come on, everybody. Megha, Milind, Greta, Neeraj, Shipra, Shashi. What do you call happiness? Come on, so that we can come up with a conclusion. Peak of experience, the experience should be good. It should give me satisfaction. Good experience. What else? What do you mean by having a good experience? When I'm eating, come on, let's talk about pizza. when I'm and I like it. Okay, so when I'm eating it, that pizza, I take the first bite. I'm very, very hungry. So that first bite will give me a lot of satisfaction, and thereby it will give me a lot of happiness. The peak of that experience, I'm using all your words, the peak of that experience will be maximum in that first bite or that first bite. Slowly, you ask me to take another one. I take another one, another piece, I start eating. Now I'm full by the time I finish that. Now, again, you forced me to have another one. Will that give me happiness? The same pizza that I love so much, with all the garnishings and with mushrooms and with everything, nice fragrance, with the chili flakes and whatever on top. The third one, okay, fine, I ate the third one also. Now you said, no, Ananya, you have to finish the whole thing. I said, I can't. No, you have to eat it. Please, please, you like it very much. The same thing will start giving me sorrow. So how do we define happiness? That experience, that peak of experience, okay, I got it in the first bite. But that kept on decreasing. So my experience that I got in the first one, that I remembered. But it ended how? In sorrow.
So maybe till the amount, till the time we just feel satisfied is where we achieve happiness,
Yes.
and then yeah.
Okay. So when will we feel happy? When will we feel satisfied? When is it dependent? Is it dependent on something? That satisfaction that we are looking for in something, or I feel that situation, if that situation comes, this pandemic goes away, everything is as before, then I'll become happy. But again, after that, you'll have another things to do, another problems pop up, they won't leave us. So what am I doing? What am I searching for? I am searching for happiness in such things, in such circumstances where it does not belong to. That experience that Vishal was talking, or that satisfaction that you are talking about, or Ira is talking about, whatever, you all are talking about the same thing that I want to explain. But that is that a portion of this world. We are mad after things. We are mad after this world. We go on searching for that happiness outside. Everything is changing here. Whatever you get, a new car, brand new car is standing outside your house that you aspired for so long, and you got it. That night, maybe you couldn't sleep properly also, and you got up in the morning and you went again to see that. But what after the next day? You will leave it and come and sleep on your bed, your cozy, comfortable bed. So the satisfaction, the happiness, whatever things we are getting outside, in the outside world, is changing, is modifying, is comparative. We won't, if I have got a high fever, and the same car, now my family members tell me, come on, Ananya, you have to go and see that car. Will I like to go and see that car? I love that car. But that has changed. That same satisfaction that I got the first day, it changed, that experience changed. So where is that satisfaction actually I'm getting from? Is it in anything outside? Does it belong? Is it a property of anything? You said that it's a mental state. Okay. So that mental state, what we are talking about, keeps changing. That mind is always changing. Sometimes it's up, sometimes down. So we can't rely on our mind also for happiness. Outside objects we rejected. We decided, we negated that those outside objects cannot have. We took the example of pizza, we took the example of car. You can take any example in your life, whatever you love. That means happiness is not a product of anything. You can analyze it a lot more. Whatever things you love to eat, or you want to go for a drive, whatever. Those things, those things are fleeting. But the actual joy, where is it? Where is it coming from? Okay, now come to the opposite side. What do you mean by sorrow? Because both these definitions will be connected. What do you feel? What do you feel sorrow is? How will you define sorrow? Which does not give me satisfaction. That's also a mental
So
state.
so if I have to sorry.
Yes.
So I'm saying if I had to define happiness versus sorrow, I personally feel it is something very subjective, something which you want. In case you want to be happy, you will be happy. Even the smallest thing can give you happiness or sorrow, right? It's on you. It's just a state of mind, what you call it,
Okay.
in other terms.
Okay, very nice. That's the closest thing. Yeah. So I will take that word from your definition, subjective. Okay. So if the sorrow or joy is subjective. What does subjective mean? What do you mean by subjective?
It means it differs from person to person.
Yes. Okay. So it means that myself, whatever I am defining myself as such and such a personality, that personality in me. Okay. That personality in me, whoever it is, I call it Atma. Okay. That Atma has got subjective. I am taking your word only. So that Atma or me or my personality has got that joy, not sorrow, that joy. Now, when I get joy from outside, what am I doing? I am putting my subjective joy in the things that I'm getting because I put my joy in that and I take it. When somebody has taken that away, suppose that pizza is gone and you all have eaten it up and you haven't even offered to me. What will happen? My subjective personality will become small. I will feel small or limited or cut. My definition of myself will be cut. My personality has become small. So wherever my personality is enlarged, I get happiness. Why do you think parents become so happy when they see their child? One small baby child, that joy of bundle of joys. Why are they so happy? That has just recently arrived. There, that subjective joy is They are putting their own joy in that thing and seeing it. Why do we get so happy seeing our faces in the mirror? Tell me. Everybody, even if one is very, very ugly, he also, when he sees his face in the mirror, he'll be very happy. Wow, what a face you have. This type of face only Bhagwan can make. That is subjective. Because that my I, that I'm calling, I, that personality, okay, let us not use that word Atma. We will see I. So that I, that personality in me, aham in me, that gets enlarged. And whenever it is big, it becomes big, I get happiness. So that joy was not in the pizza. I was putting my joy, my subjective joy in that, and I was tasting my joy only. My joy only I put in the car. My joy only I put in everything and I enjoyed. And that is why whenever I that becomes small, I feel very sad. I feel upset. I feel cut, limited, whatever you say. So our aim in this world is, what is our aim? To get happiness in everything, to get success. Why do we want success? Why do we want victory? Because I want that small I in me to get enlarged. Nothing else. Why do you feel that you use the word subjective? Why do you feel that a person, a sannyasi, suppose, a fakir, a sadhu, who doesn't even have anything in his pocket, he doesn't have a pocket also, wandering saint in the Himalayas, he doesn't come down also, he doesn't see anybody's face also, but he is happier than us. We have all the luxuries, we have everything with us, but still they are more happy because that's subjective. He puts his own happiness in that. Our happiness does not belong to any object outside. It is not dependent on any object outside. Any object can go or come. It does not make a difference in my I. If you praise me, my I won't become very big. According to him, huh? According to him. I'm talking about those people who know that the joy is subjective. And what is that subject? They have a clear inkling, they have a clear idea, clarity in the vision of that I. And that is why outside things don't make them sad or happy. You must have heard about many saints, they are kicked. They are kicked, they are beaten, they are ill-treated, but still they don't react. Because the happiness that is oozing from their bosom inside, nothing can make that stop. That source is full and it's always coming overflowing. So he doesn't worry, he doesn't care about outside people, outside objects. He doesn't know whether he will get the next meal or not, but still he's happier than us. He doesn't want anything to limit. Even we don't want that our I should get limited. That is the definition of joy. And what is sorrow? When that I becomes limited or small. I consider my I as this much. And I went to you with that frame. I have a frame for myself, like I have these specs. Similarly, we all have made one frames for us. So our frame is, suppose my frame is this big. And I went to you with this frame and you said, no, you are not this big, you are this big. So my I got constricted. So as soon as I got constricted or limited, I felt very sad. Oh no, you made me small. I am not small because I have made my frame. And that is why we get sorrow, we get sadness from outside. When I know myself to be so big that nobody can praise me and make me bigger, or nobody can make me smaller, then we are at the same level. That is called equilibrium or balance of mind. Okay, because I know about myself, and that should be the target of every human birth. Who am I? What is that thing that we are calling subjective? Who is that I? We should all try to find out, who am I? What is the purpose of this life? So Karma Yoga also, when we are into this, Karma Yoga makes us go for permanent victory, not for a temporary victory. So last time we saw about Karma Yoga that we need 3 things. So we will crack it, crack the success, crack the everlasting victory. How to crack it? We all need victory, but how to crack it? I had given you 3 points. Anybody will help me with those 3 points?
Action to be done for all pervading some supreme or higher altitude.
Very good. I'm so happy, Ajay.
Thank you. And we should be a surrendered doer.
Okay.
And the fruit of action should also be surrendered.
Okay, very nice. So these are the 3 points. Okay. So now, what was my question last time? Did I finish with any question?
Yes, 2 questions.
What was the question? Let's see first.
One, what are the benefits of Karma Yoga? Think so that the knowledge becomes yours.
Okay.
And second
So,
was, do you think all these things are backdated and we don't need it at present work?
Yeah. So let's take the first question up. What are the benefits of Karma Yoga? So with these 3 things, when we take these 3 things, that we work for something big in this life. And second one was that the doer who is doing those actions, that doer is surrendered to that big doer. And the third point was that the fruit of action should not taint me. It should not make me sad or upset or very elated, both the cases. So we should maintain some equilibrium in our personality. That's the main thing. So now tell me that the success that we are talking about, what is that success? What do you feel success is? Then we will come to those 3 things and we'll come to those questions also. Success in life means what? Yes. What do you mean by success? We all want success. We don't want failures. But what do you mean by success?
Or maybe when we attain something that we actually wanted or we aimed for.
Okay. That is something outside. How should be our mind after we attain it?
Satisfied.
Okay. And what else? So if you say that our mind should be satisfied, that means our goal is finished. We have accomplished our goal. That means we need not work anymore because we have accomplished it. We've got it. The goal is there finally. Because we have got success. So we need not work anymore. But do you feel in the world ever this success happens? Otherwise, we all will be free. Because many of us has achieved what we want in life. But still we see our experiences, people keep on working for something else. Don't go by definitions that people give. Go by your own experiences. Good, Ajay, that you thought about it. Because this is all subjective, as you told just now. We all have to have the Adhyatma means what? Adhi plus Atma, it belongs to me. It does not, it's related to me. It's not related to somebody outside or something else. So this is the mark, this is the path of contemplation. We all have to contemplate and go ahead. So we think that success is something outside. But what does it do in our mind? Does it give satisfaction? If it was giving satisfaction, then we won't have to work again. But it never happens. One small building, one small house, if we make, our goal is achieved. But then again, after living in that for some years, we feel, no, we should extend this house. We should purchase some more land, and otherwise build something on top also. We are never satisfied. We marry. Let's start with education. We did something, we had our education. Then again, do we stop? No, I want something higher qualification again. Till I get bored, I keep on studying. For what? For an earning. Then I earn. For what? For marrying. Then what? I earn. Again, for increasing my family. Again, I earn. For what? For making the house, or for managing my house, or whatever. Then what? Continuously you're working. What is, you are successful according to that definition, what you said just now. My outer goals are accomplished. We have achieved it. But still I'm working, I'm on the path. You haven't reached the destination. That does not mean that you're successful. See, once what happened, I was small. And that time I was in class 6 or 7. So I went to my friend's house. So I was on the cycle. So I didn't know her house where she stays, but I knew the locality. So I went to that locality and there was a policeman there. So I asked him which is the way to that girl's house. I told him the name and everything. So he directed me. Then I went again. I couldn't find. Again, I saw that same policeman somewhere else. He was standing. I said, "Arey, uncle, you're standing here also you came. How come here also you came?" He said, "I am here only. You have gone through some other routes and you have come here again to me. It is not that I was moving. You are moving and then you have again come to the same spot. Now go by this direction." Then he again directed. Similarly, what are we doing? Unless we reach our goal, unless I reached that my friend's house, I was on the way, always moving. Similarly, if we haven't reached our destination, that's a clear indication that we haven't reached our destination. Because we are on the move. Nothing is satisfying me. You said satisfaction, Ajay. But tell me anything, does the satisfaction is permanent in this world? Always everything is changing. One thing is satisfying for some time. Again, it doesn't satisfy me anymore. It is said in Hindi that a car and a wife, they are attractive only for some days. New car and a new wife. So it's same thing. Anything you bring, even new shoes, you will like it for some days and then it becomes old. It won't satisfy you. So unless I'm satisfied, I'm on the way, on the path, going from one destination to another, hopping. I'm in a hopping mode. So that's why this definition of success is not right. Because it does not take us to a permanent destination. So what is that will take me to some permanent destination and it won't change? That joy or sorrow here, whatever we get, we just now saw that whatever joy also we get, it is for a short time, it is short-lived. We don't get it for a long time, permanent. No. Again, we see something else. So the success, whatever success is, that success, the permanent success, permanent victory, how will it come to us? With these 3 points that we said just now. permanent, I mean, all-pervading Lord, all-pervading altar. Second one was doership, surrendered doership. And third one was fruit of action should not taint me at all. Okay, we will come to it again more, but let me touch upon the last questions that we took, that how Karma Yoga helps us in having a peaceful mind. What are the advantages of Karma Yoga? I think this was my question. What are the advantages of Karma Yoga? When we do Karma Yoga, what are the advantages? From last session, I think only Ajay, Vishal, and who else was there? Milinji was there, I don't know. So that is why Rekha ji was there. Anu?
I wasn't there. I wasn't there.
You were not there? Okay. So, how to go ahead now? Ajay, tell me. You three are only guinea pigs. Tell me.
So the advantages of Karma Yoga, I just thought about it. So I felt that it develops faith, and it reduces anxiety and stress, and we have a feeling of detachment, and we still continue to work, and the life becomes a journey and easygoing. And by
Yes.
developing the attitude of Karma Yoga, ego dissolves and greed disappears.
Very good. Very good. Whole class is finished, I think. Let's go. Yes, very good. So these are the points. And we actually aim for these points only. We want, because our ego is a very big problem everywhere. Me, for me, mine, everything. These things trouble us a lot. Wherever we are working, wherever we are going, I want my attention. So that is a problem. I want that fruit of action. In this way only I want. That's a problem. So these things when get dissolved, that will take us to permanent solution, everlasting peace, everlasting success. That success won't change again. Karma Yoga takes us to such a destination, to such a place where that doesn't shift anymore. That shifting apartment goes away. We are in a permanent state at that time. Because we know that somebody very big is with me. Because I know that that joy lies within. Because I can see that. And then I work. My last question, if you remember, was every time if I see these 3 points and I work, then isn't that I'm going for a bargain that will always keep me in a secondary position? I'll always keep giving up my sorrows and joys. Sorry, I'll give up my joys, and I'll always be sad because I have whatever I want to enjoy. You told me not to enjoy. You said I should work for somebody higher. For what should I work for? But then again, the thing that is there is when we work for somebody else whom we love, there that thing does not come in our mind that I have to work for somebody. It's a pleasure to work for them. Wherever we have love in our heart. See, I'll tell you a story. Many of you must be knowing. There was one guru, and there was one king who was the shishya of that guru, disciple. So that the king who was the disciple of that guru, he was very, very overloaded with the work of that kingdom. And once he got very tired and he thought that let me leave everything, and he didn't have any children also. So he felt that I want to leave everything and go away. So he went to his guru and he asked him that I want to leave everything and go. Now, what is your opinion about it? He said, then who will rule the kingdom? He said, I don't know, but I'm really fed up of it. He said, okay, if I tell you one thing, will you obey me? He said, yes, I'm always there to obey your orders. He said, then make me the king. He was so happy. He said, you want to become the king? Become the king. Tomorrow only in the morning, I'll give you the whole kingdom and I'll go away. Said, okay, the ceremony was done. In the morning, the guru was made the king. And as he was going away, that king, that disciple king. So the guru asked, where are you going? He said, I'll search for some job, menial job, and I'll do it for my living. He said, if you want to do a job only, why don't you do a job under me? Because you know these things about the kingdom also, all the workings also, everything about the administration, you know everything, ins and outs, you know. So he said, no problem, I can do it. Said, okay, from tomorrow onwards then, you are going to do everything here and you have to report it to me every night. You come to the ashram and you have to report it to me. Said, okay, fine. The guru went away. Everything was going the same way. Nothing changed. Only what changed? The mentality. Now the king was a servant of another king, his guru. So after a few days, the guru asked him, are you fine? Are you okay? Is it fine with you now? He said, I'm enjoying so much. I don't have any problem now because there's no responsibility on me. What is this? And nothing changed. Nothing changed. The mentality changed. So Karma Yoga does this only. It will take away our load from us. Everything outside will be same. But the mentality, the vision is changed. And somebody else, when he is taking the charge of my life, I am free. I have to do nothing. That's why you see such big, big saints also. They have done such big, big things. See Swami Vivekananda. See our Gurudev Swami Chinmayananda. They have been doing, they had done so much. but because their doership was absent, they didn't do anything and they were happy. We can't imagine how can these people see. You know, our Chinmay mission has got more than 350 centers all over the world. Big, big centers, so many schools they are running, so many other temples, so many activities, so many seva projects, so many nursing schools. We have got university, all under his name because he made it too. And if we used to ask him, Gurudev, you are doing all these. He said, no, I'm not doing. I haven't taken a single sankalp since past 30 years. He used to say, tomorrow is actually his Mahasamadhi day. Tomorrow, that means in 1992, 1993, he took Mahasamadhi in USA. So tomorrow we celebrated on 8th of, tomorrow is what day? 3rd of August every year as Seva Day. So we do some Seva because he did everything for the community and for the nation. So we celebrate his Mahasamadhi. So these saints are like that. Swami Vivekananda, he used to say, I am not doing anything. When we have made ourselves empty, somebody else takes us over. And that big power, that will make us do everything, whatever is in the plans of the higher. That is the achievement. That is the permanent achievement. Permanent victory, what we are calling for. From there, again, you don't have to shift. Why do we want to have our own house? Why do we want to go to our rooms? We go here and there. We go for visiting other nations or tourist places or other places. We enjoy a lot. But after 12 days, after 13 days, after a month, we want to return back to our house. Why? Because I'm fed up of change. I don't want anything temporary. I want something, I'm looking forward for some permanent thing. And this is the reason why I want to go to that permanent victory, where again, I don't have to work anything. Where again, I won't become sad because that thing won't go away from me. It has come to me permanently, it will be with. That is the definition of success, and that is what Karma Yoga teaches us. And now, what was the next question was, do you think that these things are backdated and we do not need those things in this modern time? Yes, Vishal.
No, I think this is very practical lesson because all three requirements of Karma Yoga makes you just concentrate on the process. You'll always focus on inputs rather than outputs. And if you see all big investors and companies these days, see the world is so uncertain that when they do pre-mortem analysis or post-mortem analysis of any investments, they think about the process. They don't think about the outcome. But the best people, they think about the process, whether the process was right or wrong. If the process was okay and the outcome was bad, then they don't worry about it. But if the process was wrong and the outcome was good also, then they go back and they correct that process. So I think all these three requirements, all pervading altar, surrender doer, surrendering the fruit of action, it makes you follow the process and forget about everything else. So it's a very, very practical and important lesson.
Very good, very good. I'm so happy. Very nice answer. Yeah, it is a process. Yes. And we need to know the process for everything. See, actually what happens, we have only one instrument for making that process instrumental. Whatever process we choose here, because I have got that word subjective today. So because this adhyatma or this spiritual life or whatever we are calling about the karma yoga also, that is subjective. So we need to make that process instrumental in our life, and for that we have got only one instrument, and that is our mind. So with that mind only, I have to work wherever I'm working, wherever I'm enjoying, or I'm doing anything, I have to use that instrument only. So this process is doing what? It is chiseling that mind. Because when I have somebody big in my life, I'm doing something for somebody big. So at that time, what is happening? My attention is not to what I will get, but my attention is whether I am making that person happy or not. If suppose I call you for lunch, whenever you come to Guwahati, I have an open invitation for you all. You have to come for lunch. You have to stay with me also. So I have invited you for lunch. Now, whatever I do to prepare that lunch, when you are going to come, what will be in my mind? Acha, he is going to come or she is going to come. Will she like this? Or should I change the recipe? Okay, where will they sit? Okay, should I make this room for their living room as their living room? Or where should they stay? Or where shall we go? If we are going out, which places should we visit? What will he like or she like here? Should we go to Kamakhya temple? Or should we go to Tara Devi? Or we should go for a voyage on Brahmaputra, evening. There are very nice, big ships here. So we should go one day there. Cruise, yes, cruise. We should go for a cruise party there. And there we can have nice our yoga party with Namami. So I said, okay, fine. So whatever I'm planning, keeping at the back of my mind about you, about your personality. So when somebody big is in my life, like here I have been posted here since 2017. This is not my place. I know this is my Gurudev's place. So whatever I do here, I do according to his choice. What he will like, if he was there, he used to like this. He was fond of roses, so I should plant roses in my garden. He used to love discipline, so I should maintain discipline. He used to never let anybody down, so I also should do like that. He used to not get angry. He used to get up early. He used to do swadhyay. He used to take classes. So when I am doing all my activities for somebody big, naturally, all my rag, all my desh, means attachments and aversions, that will automatically go away from my mind, because I have somebody else in my mind, somebody big in my mind, what he likes. So in this way, I chisel my mind. That is the only instrument I have. And in this way, because my mind is the only instrument, that instrument was there when it was Satyug. That instrument was there when it was Treta. It was Dwapar. And now in Kali Yuga also, that same mind is continuing. And this is the process, as Vishal said. This is a process to make my mind more pure. So because the instrument is same, so that process also should be the same. So there is no change. It may seem backdated, but we can express it in different ways. Expression changes. Earlier days, they used to talk, they used to explain all these things in Sanskrit. But our Gurudev changed the customs. He used to speak in English. So everything can be customized, can be changed, can be modified according to the requirements of that time or that period. But process is the same. Process will be the same because instrument is the same. The same problem that Arjun had in the battlefield, we also face so many times, because the mind stuff is the same. It doesn't change. Okay, so how much time is left? Time is finished, Ira?
Yeah, time is finished.
Time finished? Okay. So we'll continue this Karma Yoga next time. Next time we will see, please think about how to befriend the nature. That is the second topic of Karma Yoga from chapter 3. We are in chapter 3 now. So it has got some 8 or 9 points. So one by one we will cover. Today I wanted to take that point also. But today we had a discussion and we will try to see the next time. How do you befriend the nature with those 3 points of Karma Yoga? And why do you feel this pandemic arose? What was the reason for this pandemic, this COVID? It is related to Karma Yoga, that's why we can relate it. Okay? And anybody of you have any question, that also we can discuss next time. So we'll finish now. Okay? Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om. Thank you all. See you next week on Saturday. Bye.
Thank you, Ananya ji. Bye-bye.
Bye.